You're wrong, but I understand. Um, all right.
Thank you.
All right. So, right, we're in the import profile report. The import report. Yes, yes, yes. I understand. You're wrong, but I understand. Import report. Yes, we've seen basically everything loaded. Hooray. This local records already linked to NZ is kind of an outlier situation that I'm not really sure how to address. But if you were curious, you could download the records, look at them in MARC Edit, then search them in Alma to see if you had, any surprises there.
Okay.
But at the same time, looky here, total portfolios imported is 3507, 3505 were brand new, and 2 were updated. And these are probably those same 2 records that were already linked in the NZ.
Okay.
Which really shouldn't be a surprise and shouldn't have been. It just, I think it, yeah, okay, so these were already in the NZ and they were there. I think they were our test records, basically.
Oh, okay.
So it said, oh, these are already linked in the NZ. Well, of course. But it's also a part of the nature of the import profile settings. What should have happened with them. Because we're saying to merge there. All right. So yes, you added those details, and we can go ahead and take a look at them in place. So there is your collection. And as you've been familiar with this side of things before too, here are all the portfolios that have been added. If we go in and edit the collection, portfolios are here. Service is set up full text. Now the linking, we haven't done anything with this yet, nor have we set the proxy yet. And that was I think the first primary thing to work on after loading these was to make sure, are these working correctly? So SAT math flashcard, I mean, so far so good. It's connecting to the right site. Olivet Nazarene, resource details, and now here's a screen where you would have to sign in, and I can't sign in. I mean, it's telling me I actually could, but if I access through my institution, which is you, this is bumping me here, but this is something you would have to do on your end to make sure that the links are pointing to the right place, and if they're supposed to be proxied, basically determining, do we have to go back and make sure that this setting is fine as is, proxy enabled, no, everything is controlled, or should it be proxied up front with Open Athens so that maybe people are already, if they've already signed into Open Athens, then they get in, and also if somebody's on campus, does it authenticate them without needing to go any further.
Okay, and my browser just froze up on where I have that information, but I think I would just copy from EBSCO, and I think I have a different OPID ID, and I don't think that uses proxy.
Yeah.
Because usually with EBSCO, we don't use the proxy because we use that code instead.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking I probably need to set it up that way.
Right. Well, I mean, these aren't, that said, these are not the typical EBSCO host URLs. So I don't know if these are configured through the Experience Manager or EBSCO admin the same way. But I think we determined before that this was your customer code, which is enough to say, make sure that it gets to, you know,
So
this
Olivet,
screen that says Olivet Nazarene.
which is why it's asking you for a login, but it might work for me too.
Right. So
So,
if I
okay.
copy, whoops, where'd that come from? So if I start with this URL in the browser, this should work better, a little bit better for me this time since I'm not in a frame anymore. If I click this, I would expect to get to a page with your single sign-on. No. Sign into EBSCO Learning Express platform.
Hmm.
Okay, Nazarene. Now, okay, now it's taking me to your single sign-on.
Okay.
That's drawn out.
Right.
I mean, so I don't know. I don't know if that's exactly what you want to have happen. You might want people to have fewer steps than that.
Well, so that doesn't even have a place for me to put linking
No, it doesn't.
the OPID.
Right.
And I mean, I could test it too, but I'm on campus, so it probably is doing IP recognition.
Probably. I mean, do you even get the login option?
I do once in a while. I mean, we have it. I have all my links set so that
Okay, but
you
for
have
these,
to authenticate.
yeah, but for these resources, these specific. All right. Display in a new window. There we go. All right. So like, but I guess the question is, are you getting prompted to sign in or register whether if you're on campus?
Right. Okay. So I'm just going into Primo and searching for that. Guess it doesn't matter which deck. I got deck 1 here, so I'll try that one.
Uh-huh.
So if I click on Learning Express, it takes me right in and I can launch it.
Okay. All right.
So I'll have to test it like from home tonight.
Yeah.
But I'm fairly comfortable, as long as I don't have to do parser stuff, I'm fairly comfortable in playing around with the collection settings.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting that this sign-in option doesn't, it's interesting that this sign-in option goes to this sign into your account screen.
It wouldn't surprise me if it didn't say Olivet Nazarene University up there.
Yeah.
Because EBSCO's got that whole new thing where somebody could just Google and end up in EBSCO and still sign in and get in.
Uh-huh.
So it wouldn't surprise me, but because it says you're already in Olivet, it surprises me.
Well, you know what it's saying is that we've connected using a URL with your identifier.
Okay.
Having just enough under the hood knowledge to know that's how we got here.
Okay.
So that was the context, but we're not signed in yet. And the access through your institution doesn't take me directly to your single sign-on. If I do sign in or register, seems like nothing is happening. Okay. Register. Okay, my institution is Olivet Nazarene. Okay.
I'm going to turn Wi-Fi off and try it on my phone.
But yeah, I mean, without parameters, you're right. It's just figuring out where else does this have to be configured if you want people to get to their, get bounced to single sign-on sooner.
Right.
Than having to go through this whole process. Mobile app.
I turned off Wi-Fi and I'm getting the same thing you are. And so I'd have to click access through your institution.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, something's definitely not right.
Users must create personal accounts in order to save their work in progress.
And then when I log in, it takes me out of, like, I don't get my link anymore. It just takes me back to the front page.
So that sounds like there's something else going on.
And then if I go back and I try again, then it lets me right in.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not sure the redirect is working, if it's even doing that.
All right. I think when I was in one of the EBSCO meetings, this is how I found out you could do this. There was another lady asking, and she was in Carly too, I think. So I wonder if there's someone I could even just ask how they set it up. Now, you had a URL in there. Did you not save it? Because now when I go in there, there's no URL in my collection.
At the collection level?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
No, I didn't they're putting a URL at the collection level.
Oh, you put it in a, okay.
All the URLs are at the portfolio level.
So that's usually where I set it up, is just collection. Is that wrong then?
Oh no, there's nothing wrong with that. To
Okay.
have a collection level URL, no, that's a good practice.
Okay.
Just that a lot of people won't usually see that
Gotcha.
unless they search specifically for Learning Express.
Okay.
And then it would even, yeah, then I don't, how would that look? We go ahead and look in your Primo and see what that looks like.
And I have my Learning Express URLs with an Open Athens in front of it, which is weird because it has the other ID.
Okay, yeah, right now there's no bib record for your Learning Express, so nothing would come up there. But where are you putting are you at the service level?
We usually put it in the service level, but
Okay. You want to share?
I can. I don't know what I'm doing now.
Okay.
Just, yeah, let's see. Where's the share button? Here we go. I just picked EBSCO here and now I can't get it out.
You have to select the blank line under it.
Okay. It's like, what's that do? So I have a URL on my clipboard, but I was trying to figure out where to put it.
Okay, no, you go back to, so if there's a collection URL, you go back to the collection level. So edit collection. And on the general tab. Oh no, it's on the additional tab. There we go.
It's like,
Where it's,
okay.
say, under level URL.
And that's without the proxy, but on my regular website, I have a proxy set on it. So should I just save that and see if it does anything?
Right.
Is this where I'm supposed to put my OPID? What's source ID?
No.
Okay.
No, that's like it, like Not even sure what those fields are specifically for.
Okay. We won't waste our time with those then.
It's sort of like a internal version of a bibliographic record is kind of what it is. Because otherwise the actual bibliographic record would be tied to where it says additional descriptive information. So a lot of the fields on this screen are mainly there in case there's no bib record, but you want to be able to find and create reports off of this data.
Okay.
This is Alma's electronic resources management functionality. And so this data can be used and controlled independently of bib records, which, bib records can change occasionally.
Okay. So here's where I'm stumped, okay? Learning Express will not give us individual links. We can't link to a test unless we put it in Canvas. They'll only let us have links to what is it, like 10 or 12. Like I can link in directly. They've given me links, so I can set up links that go straight into these things. But they will not give you any links lower than that. So I don't understand if they don't have links that will do that. How are they giving us MARC records that supposedly link into it?
Well, yeah, I mean, the MARC records, though, I mean, we saw with the flashcards decks that we chose, if you're on campus, it takes you right to a given resource.
Right.
If you're off campus, it takes you to that resource, but you have to log in.
So do they just not want to mess with individual links, so they tell us we can't do it?
Yeah, you just logged right in. So, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen, but they can't give you links.
Here's the other problem too, is that our single sign-on, once you sign in, you're signed in everywhere.
Right.
Except it doesn't work in Primo. So if I went into an incognito window and I went to our catalog, I would have to log into Primo in order to link out to this. So I would be logged in that way.
Right.
I'm just trying it on my phone again since I don't think that it's going to make any difference, but I thought I'd try it real fast. Because it's weird on my phone. I'm not signed in, but it's still letting me go. So I must be authenticated.
Yeah, that could be. Or there's enough latency in the connection that it still thinks you're logged in or authenticated.
It did let me right in, but I don't. Trust that test. Well, I think I'll have to just keep playing with this until I figure this part out.
Right. I mean, I think that's the main aspect here is that, double checking what the settings are for the service level depends on the experience you want people to have when they're logging in, connecting to the resource from Primo and, whether it's on campus or off. And the proxy, on campus, ideally everything is IP authenticated and they don't don't have to stop at a login screen.
Right.
Um,
Okay, well, if I can't figure that out, I'll just maybe put on the e-resource listserv or something and see if anybody else is doing it and ask if they could share their settings with me.
mhm.
Everybody's pretty good about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my access into Open Athens to see if Learning Express is there.
Into my Open Athens? Into Olivet's or just,
Well, just our general one.
okay. Because I'm pretty sure I have it set up in ours. Because I just met with EBSCO yesterday about Open Athens stuff. And we were working on guest logins. But we got stuck and they had to come back. They had to go find out some information and get back with me. Yeah, so I have it allocated. It's EBSCO Learning Express, but there's no space.
Right, okay. That's the information URL, okay, and then there's the CML URL, right?
Should I be using one of those instead?
Hmm.
This is weird because there's nothing.
No, but that's the same thing we saw.
Okay.
Get to pick your institution. Okay, that's a little different. Maybe that's as streamlined as it gets.
So hopefully a lot of them are using it on campus.
Well, what I think that means is just go back and you sure can turn on the Open Athens proxy. Just enable the proxy at the service level and set it to Open Athens and should hopefully take people directly to the resource after they sign in.
Right.
If not, then
Which I did, right? This is the service level. Oh, this is collection
yeah,
level.
yeah.
So just do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. And I can test it at home tonight. Now, and unless you remember, I'm going to have to watch the movie because we did all this with only part of the records, right? We didn't do all of...
Right. We did not do all of those records, but I think we determined that most of those records were already included in what you had. I guess we were gonna try to figure out how many records there were altogether.
Because then I have to go and do the same thing with these because these are the update records, like the deletion ones and all that.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't done that yet either, right? Because you wanted to see
Right.
how. So is it just a matter of me going back and watch? Because I've had so many things in between. I have to watch it again. Watch the video.
I very much get that. That's, yeah.
So I would watch the video, but I would go into MARC Edit and do kind of the checks that you showed me last week. And then I would, I won't have to do as much as I did last week because we were setting stuff up. Now
Correct.
I'll just do a portion of it.
Yeah, now you're looking to see, are these the same records that you've already loaded, or are they different? I mean, if they're marked new or not.
Okay.
Or if they're flagged as new records, are they really new? Do you have them already? And then deletes is another story. It's like the deletions, are they marked as deletions? And are they also in your catalog? Because if you run a deletion record and it doesn't match, I guess it won't delete anything if it doesn't match anything. And nothing is lost, but if something is gone and it needs to be, then you want to make sure that it gets that way.
Okay. And so then so there'll be add, changes, and deletions, and I can do adds and changes going forward when I'm just doing the maintenance. I can do changes and add. Like I can do everything together except deletes I need to do separately.
Right. Deletes you do separately, and you would do those before you run changes and adds.
Okay.
So we did create a deletions profile, which we didn't activate it yet.
Okay.
And part of the thing we needed to check in the deletions profile was whether the records were properly marked as deletions.
But I really can't do those until I make sure I've done all of these records, right? Like the initial first file, because if they're not all in there, I can't delete them.
Well, you can run a deletion file. It just, you would want to, you could run the deletions at any point. It just, if things are added, that's kind of why I say you would normally run deletions before you run updates, because if it's like, letting the horses in and out of the barn.
Okay.
If you delete something that wasn't there yet, and then you open the door back up later, you let something in that you meant to delete.
Okay.
that
Right.
analogy doesn't work at all, actually.
Well, I know. I'm getting what you're saying, though. Okay.
Yeah, there's a sequence to the activity, basically, that you basically want to follow month by month or update by update. You don't want to, if you have a set of updates for, say, quarter number 21, or maybe it's, May 2025, you want to run those before you load any new records or changed records for May 2025. Because supposing there was something in those new records or change records that happened to match something in the deletion file, if you run the deletions at the end, then you might end up deleting something that was just added new.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
You know, it's sort of looking at what's the net result supposed to be. You know, hopefully there isn't a situation like that necessarily, but occasionally there are with loading records, import files like that.
Okay. So I opened up the initial file, and where do I see how many records are in this file?
Okay, so you go up to reports,
Oh yeah.
field count. So 3507, so that's the file we loaded.
So we actually did this whole file.
Yes.
That's encouraging. So then my next steps are to do deletes, which are in here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I probably have to do each one of these at one time, one at a time.
Right.
I don't know if my brain can do that. I don't know where this is.
Well,
It did
but if
some
you want
weird
to,
extracting.
if you want to open one of those to, so we take a look at them.
Okay.
All right, there we go. So, see, it says LDR and then 02662. That letter D right there tells us that it is formatted as a deletion.
Okay.
So we don't have to, the good news is we don't have to do anything to this record to make it so that Alma will run the deletions when you use the deletions import profile.
Okay.
That said, it is probable that the deletions import profile may not actually completely delete everything we want to delete. And that is because Alma has this thing about related records.
Oh.
And the related records can prevent deletion of stuff. So if that happens, we can walk through the the process of how to find what didn't get deleted, set it up so that you can delete them.
Okay. And that would be every time, or we would figure out a pattern and that would fix it for.
We would figure out a pattern, but it would probably be every time.
Okay. So are we going to dive right in?
Sure.
You want me to set up another meeting? What do you want to do? Okay.
I mean, we can dive right in and try it right now, or we can set up another meeting. I'll be out at most of next week for Eluna. So this.
Oh, I heard you were presenting with Marissa.
Yeah, so we could do that. We could set something up for Monday or set something up the following week.
It's totally up to you if you want. I have time now, or I can clear my schedule.
Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot.
Okay.
So go to your resources menu and import profiles. or the import is fine. You want to select the deletions. So click the action menu and click the action menu and click run. Select the file.
Just find it. It was this one. I just did the top one. Guess I'll just call it what they have, because that way I can identify it.
Yeah.
Since there's multiple ones. I don't know what that letter is. It's not an L. Do you think it's a... Oh, I hit the wrong thing.
That's okay.
Go back. It won't let me.
That's okay. You can move on. You don't
Okay.
have to. This would be...
I'll be like, what is this next time? Okay. So then I go to
just
submit.
go submit. Yep.
This is one of those things where I have to refresh.
Right. Oh, you don't, yeah, you don't need to use the whole browser refresh because there's a refresh button right up there above it. So it's, see, just under the run import.
Oh, there it is.
button
Okay.
has
I
a
was looking for
refresh
the
button.
symbol and couldn't find it. Okay. Okay. But
Okay.
it's 100% done.
100% done. So you could click on the actions menu and click the report. And we had one record, one not imported or deleted. So under records not imported, since that's what we have, no match is what we've got here. Check bibliographic record matches. Let's see, did it match anything or not? No matches found.
Do you think it was in the add and changes? Because I think I'm 4 months behind for that.
Could be.
I mean, normally I would be on top of it and they would all be in there.
Right. Right. I mean, it sort of depends on, whether they give you enough information to know which files were created when.
Somewhere. That's the...
April 2025.
So I don't even know like what was what was CAND. Like their file names don't seem to
Yeah.
be real helpful. Where'd they go? Well, there's the prep step 4 years.
Well, there's computer and internet basics. So that's, yeah, that's probably your C and I
Oh, so that's a
basics.
capital I. Okay. It'd be weird if there was a new one that they deleted already in there.
Yeah. Well, and that, I mean, but at the same time, that's kind of how the this process in my that I'm mentioning, where you do deletes first after a long time has passed, kind of comes about because the way that sometimes resources get licensed and then the license goes away and then the license might come back.
Mm.
So it's like if you had a subscription from 2023 to 2024, but not in 2025, and then again in 2026, you
Oh, I
signed up
see.
again. If you run all of the loads first and then run the delete after that, the net outcome is that you have no title available.
Right.
Whereas if you run things more or less in the order in which they were added and deleted, then whatever the most recent file is, then you should have things up to date. I mean, and that's really the more important factor is running running the imports according to the dates that they were created, and less about doing deletes before additions, but because those could go either way. It just not getting, don't do 12, you know, 12 updates worth of new records before you do the deletes, because some of the deletions should have been caught by, you know,
So should I do these in order of when they happen? Like, should I go and do July, like just download these 6 and do those 6
yes.
instead of trying to do it the way I'm doing it?
Yeah, I think so.
And then just do what we just did with the 6 from July. And if that seems like it went well, go ahead with the other ones. And then at our next meeting, you can help me wherever I'm stuck, or we could go back and look at the reports and you can help me figure those out.
Yes, that sounds good.
Okay. Now, if we both can just remember that, we'll be good.
Go into the ticket and make a note of that.
Okay. I'm going to go. All your emails. Think that I could get them. If I worked when we get off here, if I could get them done so we could meet on Monday while it's still kind of fresh on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but we don't have a time that matches up.
Uh,
Oh, I guess I could do 12 to 1. You do have 12 open. do have a meeting, but I can change with him.
Yeah, I'm open. Yeah, I'm very open between 9:30 and 2.
And maybe I'll try to do 12 to 1. I've got a webinar at 1, but okay, I booked it.
Okay, there it is. I see it.
Monday at 12. I put 12 to 1, but it's really only 12 to 12:30. But that way nobody can book me in between. I sure appreciate all this. I have another ticket from you. I did get the video today and it is working. So I think I'll try to finish this first and then work through that next video of the, I had asked you questions about local versus network.
Right.
But I think I'll work on this tonight while it's on my brain.
Okay, sounds good. I'm making a note and I'll send that to you and we'll meet on Monday.
Thanks, Ted. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Have a good Friday and a good weekend.
Thanks, you too.
All right, bye.
Bye.